Even now, nearly a week after both my husband and I suddenly became unemployed, I still haven't dared to tell our parents back home. Every time my mother calls and asks whether work has been busy, I force myself to laugh and say, "Very busy. We probably won't be able to visit at the end of the month." Then I hang up, look at my husband sitting silently on the balcony, and stare at the bank notification, reminding us that our mortgage payment is due soon. I still feel like none of this is real. My husband and I worked for the same private company in Hanoi. We both came from the countryside, with no connections, no money, and nothing but the hope that hard work would eventually give us a better life. The greatest piece of luck we ever had was meeting our director and deputy director. They were husband and wife. The deputy director was very close to me. From the time I first joined the company and was still inexperienced, she patiently taught me everything. Whenever I made a mistake, she often defended me and gave me another chance. She was more than just my boss. Sometimes she treated me like a younger sister. When I was sick, she let me take time off without deducting my salary. When I gave birth to my second child, she sent gifts and called me regularly. During holidays, she often bought presents for both of my children. My husband, meanwhile, worked as the director's personal assistant. His job was demanding because the director took him almost everywhere. Business dinners, meetings with partners, work trips, and late-night emergencies were all part of his routine. There were many nights when my husband came home after midnight. In return, our income was stable and quite good. Together, we earned nearly 70 million Vietnamese dong each month. For many people in Hanoi, that amount might not sound extraordinary. But for a young couple who had started with nothing, it felt like a dream. 2 years ago, we took the risk of buying an apartment. Property prices were high, and our savings were not enough. I was so frightened by the debt that I almost gave up on the idea. It was our bosses who encouraged us to go ahead. The deputy director told me, "Once you have a stable home, you can focus on work and raising your children. Buy it. If you are short of money, we will help." They later lent us 400 million dong without charging any interest. I cannot describe how grateful we were. There was a period when my husband's work went very well, so we lived as frugally as possible, and we paid the entire loan earlier than expected. We had already returned all 400 million dong, but our bank mortgage still had almost 2 years remaining. Every month, we had to pay 30 million dong. Before this happened, I had never worried too much about it. With a combined income of nearly 70 million, we could pay the mortgage and still have enough for food, school fees, utilities, and our children's expenses. We were not rich, but I never imagined that one day both of us would lose our income at the same time. Everything began after the deputy director gave birth. During her maternity leave, she rarely came to the office. I still messaged her regularly, sent her food occasionally, and visited when I had time.
She was exhausted from caring for the baby, but she seemed happy. She even told me that after her maternity leave, she would return to the company and we could work together again. Less than 2 months later, she discovered that her husband was having an affair. The woman was not a business partner or someone outside the company. She was one of the employees. Worse, she belonged to a group of 3 women who were close friends with me. The 3 of us were the female employees the deputy director trusted and favored the most. Whenever she went out to eat, she often invited us. She shared personal matters with us. When there were good opportunities at work, she usually gave us priority. That woman had even visited the deputy director's home. She had held the deputy director's newborn baby in her arms. She had smiled and said the baby looked just like the father. She had once sat beside me while the deputy director talked about her marriage and said, "I think you and the director are the most admirable couple in the whole company." Yet behind her back, she was sleeping with her husband. When the affair was exposed, the entire company descended into chaos. At first, I heard only fragments of gossip. Nobody dared to explain what had really happened. Then, the deputy director called me directly. Her voice was calm, far too calm. She asked only one question. How long have you known? I did not understand what she meant, so I asked her to explain. Then, she mentioned the woman's name and her husband. My mind went blank. I immediately told her that I knew nothing. She was silent for a few seconds before asking, "The three of you were so close and you knew nothing?" I swore to her that I truly had no idea. Yes, we were friends, but outside work, each of us had our own family and private life. That woman had never confessed anything to me or hinted that she was involved with the director. I had also never seen them behave suspiciously. The deputy director did not argue. She simply said, "I understand." Then she ended the call. I called back, but she refused to answer. I later heard that she had initially decided to divorce him. She had just given birth, and the betrayal completely destroyed her. She refused to forgive him. But when her husband's parents found out, they summoned the director home and scolded him severely. They forced him to apologize and beg his wife to stay. They even threatened that if the couple divorced, they would not continue living. In the end, the deputy director agreed not to divorce him. But on the first day she returned to the company, she fired more than 10 employees. She did not only dismiss the woman who had the affair with her husband, she also fired everyone close to that woman, as well as anyone she believed had known about the relationship, but helped hide it. Some people were dismissed simply because they shared an office with the woman, ate lunch with her, or had once helped her change a work schedule. My name was on the list. That morning, Human Resources called me in and placed a termination notice in front of me. My hands were shaking so badly that I could barely hold the pen. I asked for the reason, but the HR employee only said it was a decision made by senior management. I begged to meet the deputy director.
I said she could reduce my salary, transfer me to another department, inspect my phone, or read every message I had ever exchanged with that woman. I only wanted one chance to explain that I truly knew nothing. But she refused to meet me. She sent a message through someone else saying that she did not want to hear any explanations. I hadn't even recovered from the shock when my husband called that afternoon. His voice sounded empty. I was fired too. My husband had been the director's personal assistant. He had followed him almost everywhere. The deputy director believed that someone who stayed beside her husband every day could not possibly have known nothing. The director was the one at fault, so he did not dare interfere or ask his wife to keep my husband. That evening, my husband and I sat across from each other in the living room. Our 2 children were asleep. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Finally, I asked him, "Did you know about their affair?" He remained silent. The moment I saw his expression, I already knew the answer. I asked again, "You knew, didn't you?" He slowly nodded. It felt as if someone had slapped me across the face. I stood up and demanded to know why he had hidden it from me. Had he told me, I could at least have distanced myself from that woman. When the deputy director called, I would not have sounded like someone pretending to be innocent. At the very least, she might not have believed that I was also helping them hide the affair. My husband said he had found out several months earlier. During a business trip, he accidentally discovered that the director and the female employee were together. Afterward, the director spoke to him privately and said it was a personal matter. He told my husband not to interfere. My husband said he was afraid of losing his job. He told me, "I thought it was the boss's private business. We were only employees. I was afraid that if I told you, you would tell her. Then both of us could lose our jobs." I didn't know whether to scream or cry. He'd stayed silent because he was afraid of losing his job. In the end, we both lost our jobs anyway. I asked whether he had ever helped them cover up the affair. He insisted he had not. He said there were a few times when he knew the director was lying to his wife about his schedule, but he did not expose him.
According to my husband, that was not the same as actively arranging meetings or helping them hide. But I do not know how the deputy director sees it. In her eyes, my husband was the person who stood beside her husband every day. He knew the truth but watched her go through pregnancy, childbirth, and motherhood while still believing her husband was faithful. Meanwhile, I was one of the closest friends of the woman who entered her marriage. Even though I truly knew nothing, would I believe myself if I were in her position? Nearly a week has passed. My husband has started sending out job applications, but nobody has responded. I have also attended several interviews, but the salaries offered were far lower than what I earned before. One company asked why both my husband and I had left our previous workplace at the same time. I did not know how to answer. Every month, we must pay $30 million for the apartment.
That does not include school fees, food, electricity, water, and the countless other expenses of raising 2 children. Our savings will only last a few months. Selling the apartment would be heartbreaking because we have already spent years paying for it. But if neither of us finds a new job soon, it may be our only option. Over the past few days, I have written countless messages to the deputy director and deleted every one. Sometimes I want to go to her house, kneel in front of her, and beg her to hear me out. Not only because I want my job back, but because it hurts deeply that someone who once cared for me now sees me as a traitor. My husband told me not to disturb her anymore. He said she had just given birth and had suffered a devastating betrayal. Her anger and distrust were understandable. I know she is the person who has been hurt the most. I also cannot blame her for firing my husband. He knew the truth and chose to remain silent. Whether he did it out of fear or because he believed he should not interfere, he must accept responsibility for that choice. But what about me? I truly did not know. I only happened to be close to the wrong person and was dragged into a situation I never had the chance to explain. The more I think about it, the more unfair it feels. Yet whenever I remember what the deputy director went through, I cannot bring myself to hate her. Yesterday, the bank called again to remind us that the mortgage payment was approaching. That night, my husband suggested selling the apartment and moving back to our hometown with the children for a while. I could only cry. That apartment represents everything we worked for over the years. It was also something we managed to buy because of the support and trust of the same 2 bosses. Now, because of an affair that neither of us started, our family may lose both our jobs and our home. I still do not know whether I should try to meet the deputy director one final time. I want her to understand that I never betrayed her. But I am also afraid that appearing in front of her now will only make her believe I am using her pain to beg for my job back. As for my husband, I do not know how long I should stay angry with him. He was wrong to remain silent, but at the time, he was also just an employee, terrified of losing the income that supported our family. Do you think the company was right to fire both of us? Should I try one last time to explain everything to the deputy director? Or should I accept that from the moment my husband chose to keep his boss's secret, our family was already destined to pay the price?
Nếu bạn yêu thích những câu chuyện đời thật, những tâm sự sâu sắc về tình yêu, hôn nhân, gia đình và bài học cuộc sống, hãy nhấn đăng ký kênh, like, chia sẻ và để lại bình luận bên dưới để cùng lan tỏa những câu chuyện ý nghĩa đến nhiều người hơn. Sự ủng hộ của bạn chính là động lực để tâm sự đời thật tiếp tục kể thêm nhiều câu chuyện chân thật, cảm xúc và đáng suy ngẫm mỗi ngày. Cảm ơn bạn đã lắng nghe và đồng hành cùng kênh.